Hi there, I'm Vincent Bos, and I'm a life coach, relationship coach, and breakup coach. You can change the language of this podcast in my YouTube video settings. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing the day that makes your ex panic. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. Subscribe to my weekly support emails. The link is in the description. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing the day that makes your ex panic. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you likely think that every day is a great day for your ex. In today's podcast, I'm discussing the 3 days that make your ex panic. So let's get straight into this. And point number 1 is the day you smile and keep going. Now let me know in the comments if you think that you will ever see your ex again. Do you actually believe that one day you will ever bump into your ex again? Let me know in the comments whether you believe it, whether you believe you will, or maybe you don't. Maybe you believe you will never bump into your ex again. Let me know, okay? We will see how the community believes their chances are. But it is always a possibility. And hence point number 1 is very important in today's podcast when we consider the day that makes your ex panic. Because if and when you bump into your ex once more, which as I've said, is always a possibility whether you believe it or not, depending on how you behave during this interaction, could potentially make your ex panic. Now the reason for this is your ex-dumper believes that you are their safety net. They believe that you want them back. They believe that you crave them. Now this doesn't mean that they actually want you to chase them. You see, this is the paradox. They expect you to be the safety net, but they don't want you to do the chasing. So what this means is if you were to bump into your ex when you least expect it, there is a situation where your dumper will believe that you are going to be trying to have a conversation, maybe even trying to tell them how much you love them and try and reconnect on that very spot. That is what they are going to be expecting. However, if you behave in a way where they don't expect, this is where they can start to panic. And the reason why they would start to panic is because the other side of that paradox, which is they do believe that you are there for them. So remember, they believe you are there for them, but they believe you will be behaving in a way that they don't want you to. They want to come back to you on their terms. So they want you there waiting, but they don't want you to be trying to persuade them. And hence, if you bump into your ex and you smile, you say hi, but you then keep going, well, that is going to really throw them, because they're going to be really, really confused. My ex-dumpy didn't try and persuade me to reconnect. My ex-dumpy didn't tell me how much they loved me. My ex-dumpy didn't get overly emotional. This is really strange. Why are they behaving in this cool, calm and collected way? Am I not really the person they want anymore? Are they not my safety net? What is happening? And this type of confusion can really throw your ex. It can make your ex-dumper very confused and very unsure of their position. And that is exactly what we need to take place if we want your ex-dumper to potentially regrow romantic emotional attraction. If they don't regrow the attraction that they've lost, and then some, well, unfortunately, you are never going to be in a position where they want to reconnect with you. If they feel the same way as they did at the time of a breakup, you're not going to reconnect. We need them to regrow feelings. And one of the ways they can regrow feelings is if they start to genuinely believe that they might be losing you. Remember, they believe you are waiting for them. So if you actually showcase that you're not, by behaving in a way where you smile, you say hi, but you then keep going where you're going, that showcases confidence. It showcases that you, as a dumpee, are not waiting on their every word. That is not what they expect. Now remember what I've been saying all along in point number 1. They expect you to be the safety net, but it doesn't mean that they want you to chase them. It is a strange thing to get your head around. They don't want you to be overly emotional. They don't want you to be begging them in the street, but they somewhat expect you to. The other possibility that they might expect is you to be acting really awkward. Maybe you put your head down, maybe you cross the road, maybe you look away, maybe you try to pretend you haven't seen them, but it's really obvious that you've seen one another, and hence it is awkward. Again, this is something that they expect, because if you really want them, as in their mind you do, and you can't have them because they have decided to end the relationship, they do consider that you might be acting in an awkward way. So that is the other possibility of how they believe you might act. So if you don't do that, if you don't put your head down, if you don't look away, if you don't look angry, frustrated, or bitter, if instead you look at them in the eye, you smile, you say hi, but you keep going, this can really confuse your ex. And this can be one of the days that makes your ex panic. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast. Please give this video a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like my content, subscribe to the channel to keep updated. And point number 2 is their birthday. So today we're speaking about the days that make your ex panic. And point number 2 is their birthday. And you might think, well, why are they going to be panicking on their birthday? Their birthday is going to be a great day. Well, it might be in some regards, but if you as a dumpee don't wish them happy birthday, that is again going to throw them. Remember what we're connecting here. They expect you to want them. So even though they might be thinking on the lead up to their birthday, I don't know if I want my dumpee to message me or not. I don't want a card off them. That would be kind of strange. I don't want to hurt them by rejecting their advances on my birthday. So I'm not sure if I want them to wish me happy birthday or not. They might be thinking that on the lead up to their birthday, but they genuinely believe you are going to reach out. So if you don't, once again, you are pulling the rug from underneath them. They do not expect it, they are surprised, they are confused, and this can lead them into a bit of a panic. Once more, is my dumpee not really there for me? Are they not waiting for me? This can be very confusing. Now, the whole concept of whether or not you should wish your dumper a happy birthday is a little bit more complex than the way I've just described, and hence I have a theory about what you should do as a dumpee. Now, let's say, for instance, that you have had an interaction from your dumper in the last month or so before their birthday. So imagine that your ex-dumper reached out to you for an unnecessary reason. It wasn't because they needed to. It wasn't a negative reason, but for an unnecessary reason, your ex-dumper has reached out to you in the last month or so. Now, for whatever reason, this didn't develop into you reconnecting, but it was a positive, unnecessary interaction that your ex-dumper started, and it happened within the last few weeks. If that took place, then I do believe as a dumpee, you could wish your ex-dumper happy birthday. Because if you didn't, it could be very confusing, not just for your ex-dumper, but for you as well about where exactly is your dynamic going. But you have to consider, if your ex reaches out to you, and it's not because they have to, and it's for a nice reason, there can be no other rationale other than at some point in their mindset, they are feeling a level of missing you. Does it mean they're ready to reconnect at that very second? Maybe not. That's probably why it didn't happen. But it could be the first step to reconnection. And therefore, if you don't reach out to them on their birthday, it could actually suggest to your dumper that you don't want to interact further. And we don't want that confusion. So, although today's podcast is somewhat about leading your ex-dumper to believe something different to what they thought, in this regard, in those specific, unique circumstances, I do think that we need to show that you are open to communication, but only if it hits all of those points. There needs to be positive interaction from your ex to you, not you initiating, them initiating, in the last few weeks, and it has to be for an unnecessary reason. If that took place, then yes, as a dumpee, you can wish your ex-dumper happy birthday. If those things don't happen, and look, it's very unlikely that all of those things would occur, then I do not suggest you wish your ex-dumper happy birthday, for the reasons we have already described. And if you don't reach out to them, and it's not something that you should be doing, as we've just said, then this is another reason which could lead your ex-dumper into a bit of a panic, into thinking you're no longer waiting for them, you're no longer there, and maybe they can start missing you from that point, which of course is exactly what we want. Now, if you would like advice and support about how to try and increase the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. This is the best and diamond level of support that I can provide. Go to my website www.dateme.tips for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. Talking about your feelings can also improve your mental health. It helps prevent the buildup of negative emotions, which can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Speak your heart to free your mind. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast. If you feel that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description. And point number 3 is the day you meet someone new. So this is the biggest paradox of them all. We've already spoken about one or two already today, but the concept that you as a dumpee dating someone new could lead your ex-dumper to miss you, and therefore putting them into a panic. They're starting to think to themselves, my ex-dumpee is no longer here because they're dating someone else. How on earth could that help you reconnect with your ex? Well, let's break this down. Your ex-dumper lost romantic emotional attraction for you. That's why they ended the relationship. Sadly, that has taken place between you both. At that moment, they did not see you as a dateable option. They don't view you as a dateable option. For you to get your ex back, you need to present yourself as a dateable option. And one of the best ways that you can present yourself in that regard is by dating someone new. Because if you're dating someone new, you are by the very point of that concept a dateable option, especially if this new person is someone that your ex-dumper believes to be better than them in some regard. Maybe it's in physical appearance, maybe it's through talent, intelligence, whatever it may be. If your ex-dumper believes that there is something better with this new person than them, it is absolutely going to pull on them. Now, even if your ex doesn't know this new person, sometimes that can play into your favour even more, because they've got no idea whether or not this new person is quote-unquote better than them, and therefore their mindset will do what minds and brains do, which is often work against us. Unfortunately, our brain is very rarely our best friend in these instances, and it does tend to think of a worst-case scenario. So your ex-dumper will likely start to believe that this new person that you are dating is better than them, whether that is actually the case or not. So all of this can help you. But you might be thinking, well, how can my ex even find out I'm dating someone new if I'm not allowed to tell them? And of course, you can't reach out to your dumper and say, hey, I'm dating someone new. That's not going to work. The best ways you can live your life post-breakup is by focusing on you and not your ex. And one of the things that you can do is live your life in a way where you are open with your intentions. What that means is, if you, for instance, go online dating, anybody who sees you on the apps would assume that you might be dating someone new. And here's the key. Everything we've just spoke of in point number 3 is theoretical. You might not actually be dating anyone, but it's the possibility that you might be dating someone, which can make your ex-dumper fall into this panic, which hopefully will start to regrow romantic emotional attraction in their mind and get them to the point of where they miss you. They view you as a dateable option once more, and they may get to the stage of wanting to reconnect. So you going on dating apps, you telling friends, social media, whatever and whoever it may be, that you are open to date new people, just that possibility, if and when it gets back to your ex, and it likely will, without you having to do any more than just living your life in an open way, when they find out, this can do the work that it needs to do. You don't have to say anything. Just let the world do its own thing, and your ex-dumper will likely find out what they need to find out. Now, if you truly do start dating, should you be doing it just to make your ex jealous? No, of course you shouldn't. This should be authentic between you and a new person. It doesn't mean that you can't be saying to this new person, hey, I'm fresh out of a breakup, I'm not sure what I'm looking for, I don't want to rush, I don't want anything serious. If this new person agrees to what you are suggesting, then you are not leading anybody on. And if your ex-dumper contacts you in the future, well, you can make that decision then. I don't suggest you use anybody. I don't suggest you are unkind to anybody, but just be honest and say, I'm not sure what I'm looking for. Let's take things slow. And you never know, the person you are talking to might feel exactly the same. And that's the point. It could be beneficial for you, for them, and your ex in the long run, because if they find out what's happening, this could lead them to miss you, regrow attraction, and eventually, hopefully, reconnect with you. Now, if you're wondering about why you went from being adored to ignored by your ex, click the link on the screen right now if you're watching on YouTube.